Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna say it. CS2 kind of sucks, man. Like, it's not gonna suck forever, and I know that Valve are probably cooking up something big as we speak. But right now, the game is in sort of a rough place. Cheaters are running rampant, there is zero new content, and the gameplay still just feels sort of suboptimal. CS2 is floundering, and the question is, how will Valve fix it? And when? All right, so before we dive into all of the reasons that no one cares about CS2 right now, friendly reminder that you should totally come play CS2 with us. I'm talking, of course, about theScore esports' official Faceit Clan. Click the link in the description below to join so you can squad up with me, your friends, and our community, pug using a real anti-cheat, win points, and spend them in the Faceit shop. So yeah, it is absolutely no secret that CS2 is in a bit of a weird spot. Despite the Steam numbers still being relatively great, there's no question that a lot of the fanfare surrounding CS2 has subsided in the months since its official release. Now, there are reasons for this. The first, and probably foremost, is the agonizing lack of content. For context, the last case, not map, not operation, or major content update, just the last case, came out in February of 2023. To be fair, Valve have spent the better part of the past year trying to get CS2 into a spot where it's actually playable, so it's sort of understandable that additions might have fallen to the wayside. The issue is that when they transitioned from Go to CS2 in the first place, they took out a lot of the shit that you could already do. DM, retakes, surfing, KZ, war games, etc. Now some of that is back, mind you, but even Bob, nowhere to be seen. CS2 is starving for content. And what's worse, because it's Valve, we have absolutely no idea when we're gonna get it. Now, I'll be honest, the content thing doesn't actually bother me that much. When there were no community servers, that was the problem. But now that I've got my retakes back, I'm sort of chilling. What bothers me, and again, I'm just speaking for me, is CS2 itself. And what I mean by that is just sort of the way the game feels. I'll be honest, I haven't touched CS2 for recreational reasons in upwards of like 2 months. I came to the end of the last ESEA season feeling really burned out and just realized that I wasn't really having fun with the game. So for the first time in years, I took a break. What I'm starting to pick up on is that I'm not alone. Almost everyone I talk to hasn't touched the game in either weeks or months. I'm talking super sweaty Faceit grinders and casuals. Everyone I talk to says the same thing. The game is just wearing on them. A friend of mine put it really well. He said that right now, in its current state, CS2 is probably like 20% worse than CSGO. The problem is that when you've lived and breathed global offensive for as long as our community has, that seemingly marginal difference can feel like a chasm that just obliterates your enjoyment of the game. Movement in particular has been criticized into oblivion, and rightfully so. CS2 doesn't feel nearly as smooth, seamless, and polished as its predecessor. Why is all of this like so maddening? Well, when you've played Counter-Strike for as long as some of us have, it can be insanely frustrating to be playing CS and feeling like you're not. I get that itch to play Counter-Strike, that one I've had for like 20 years, and then I play CS2, and it just doesn't scratch it. A lot of this is subjective, and I'm not framing it as anything but that. It could be that I was already playing too much Counter-Strike to begin with and just needed a break anyway, but I don't know. It does feel like the game is, to varying degrees, driving people away. In all fairness, that was, on some level, expected. New Counter-Strikes have always felt like shit. Go was a disaster at launch, Source was a disaster in general, and the expectation was that CS2 would also be in need of adjustment. And it'll get it. It will. CS2 will, for sure, at some point, feel great. That, like the content staleness, is a problem that Valve can, and I believe, will fix. How long will it take them? I don't know. And I'll be honest, that's sort of why I stopped playing the game. But I'm confident that these are problems that Valve has solutions for. There is only one thing that Valve absolutely cannot get a pass for, and that is the f***ing cheater problem. Let's just say it. Cards on the table. What did Valve think was going to happen when they rebuilt the physics engine, overhauled the matchmaking system, and completely revolutionized tick rate as we know it without making any meaningful additions to the anti-cheat. What the f did they think was gonna happen? What island of delusional insanity are they living on that they thought that any of this was going to matter if they didn't solve the cheater problem? I know that I'm getting worked up, but like, this is one of those things that Valve just cannot get a pass for. Like, it's insane, and I just can't wrap my head around it. I don't know if Valve just like don't think that CS2 has a cheater issue, or they think it's not that bad, or they just know that, you know, Faceit will clean up their mess like they always have. Like, I don't know, but it's just lunacy that in the year of our Lord, 2023, we are releasing entirely overhauled shooters with $100 million esports infrastructures that don't have functional anti-cheats. Now, obviously, we are all just gonna keep playing Faceit like nothing happened, but you can't expect or say the same for new and casual players. This isn't how you grow a game or usher in the next generation of Counter-Strike lovers. And I don't know what's coming, all right? Like, maybe they're cooking up some crazy VAC live shit that's gonna blow us all away, but if history is any indication, it seems really unlikely. I feel like after a decade plus of us dealing with this, and just them trying earnestly to solve every other major problem that CSGO had, to just half-ass this one, it's unacceptable. The point of all of this is just to say that CS2 is definitely in something of a dubious spot, and the community is rightfully, deservedly, sitting around wondering what comes next. I don't have the answer to that. The major is basically around the corner, and I imagine that Valve are hard at work to just make sure that the game is in a great spot. I also imagine that a major content update of some sort, i.e. an operation, will at some point be here. The issue is that we've gone so long without a major content update that there's a lot riding on this next one. Like, if this operation isn't mind-blowing, it will piss off and indeed put off the community in a non-trivial way. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more egregious, after 2 weeks without a content update, Valve released yesterday a patch for CS2 with one line that fixed geometry on Vertigo. So for all 4 of you who've had your games ruined by that and not cheaters, good on you. Whatever's coming, just please make it awesome, Valve. Like, we know that you believe like we do in the future of Counter-Strike, and you guys want to make it great. But we're tired, man. Like, it's not just the casual player base who's losing interest. I'm losing interest. It's getting to the point where I just don't want to play CS2 until any sort of meaningful change is made. And that's not like some ungrateful or heretical way to feel. It is fair that we expect better. And again, I, like most of us, believe that long term, it will get better. But it's a give and take. And right now, it feels like there's a lot of concessions being given by the community and not a lot for them to take. Hopefully, that'll change. The saddest thing, I knew like young people who were grinding CSGO before CS2 came out. They were so ready for it. They were so excited for it. And then CS2 came out and it was just so bad. It just put them off and they're not playing it anymore. And like, that's the saddest thing. That's the thing that makes me the most like heartbroken.